Hi, I'm Darnell with Way of Living Recipes, and this is the Ninja Foodi XL Smart Pressure Cooker and Steam Fryer. And this is my review of differences between this and the model that I did a review of just a little over a month ago. So there are a lot of similarities between these two cookers. This is model OL701. The one I did a review of earlier was OL601. Since I did a very full and thorough review of that, I'm only going to discuss differences in this review. For everything else, you should check that earlier review. Everything else is there. Here I'm only going to do differences. Now here's a closer up view of the cooker. Some differences on the outside. You've got this little tab you can press in, and right there you've got your meat thermometer that you can use for cooking and measuring your meat temperature with. And when we open up, there's a difference on the inside. If you look right here, that's where the meat probe goes in. And so you just pull this out and you put your meat probe in. You do need to save this. If you lose this, the cooker won't work without this in or that meat thermometer in that we'll talk about more later. One thing I do want to point out and mention, because I know some people have been having some angst over it, but this ring that is inside, it is special just for this cooker. You can't use replacement rings for other pressure cookers or other pressure cooker rings. You can only use the one that's made for this. And the reason for that, and there's a very good reason for that, this is much thicker and sturdier than the rings that come with typical pressure cookers. And so this is able to withstand you using just one lid for your pressure cooking, for your air frying, for your steam and crisping. It's able to withstand all that and have the same ring in there. Keep in mind with your pressure cookers, you never have your pressure cooker ring and pressure cooker lid on with those others when you're doing air frying. And so this is made to be able to withstand a bit more stress, I guess. And so, you know, it's with good reason that you need to use this ring and not another ring, and why they recommend not using other rings, because, you know, if you have a seal failure on your pressure cooker, that wouldn't be pretty. So now I want to do a quick measurement of the cooker with the lid open. I did a lot of measurements in my earlier review, but one I did not do was a measurement of the lid open. So just going to get a read of that from top to bottom, and that is reading, let's see, I guess if we just kind of, I mean, we are tilting it a little bit, but it's about 22 and a half if you're tilting a little bit. I guess if, you know, you can't see when I kind of put it in like this, but it's just about 22 inches even, just about 22 inches even when you go from the very top of the open lid down to the base of the countertop, 22 inches. Now I'm going to plug the cooker in, and we're going to go right into the differences and functions on the cooker. But when we turn things on, we have our display here, and if I close the lid up, and I'm going to, well, just first I'll put the meat thermometer in, the meat thermometer jack, so let me get that out of here. So here's the meat thermometer totally unwound. It's very short. I mean, it's you know, maybe a foot long, maybe. But I do want to show you one thing before we stick that on in. If I go over here to pressure cook, there's one difference that is really important to know about. You see here on pressure, it's got natural release, or you can have quick release, or you can have delayed release. You can set how long the pressure release is, and it'll release the steam automatically. Of course, you want to be very careful with that. But, you know, you can do, you know, have it automatically quick release, have it do a delayed release of how much time you want to delay. You don't have to do, you know, anything as far as coming over and releasing the pressure. It'll do it for you. So that's pretty cool. Now I'm going to let's see, get this moved over to one where I can open the lid. I'm going to stick that temperature probe on in. So just taking this and sticking it on in like that. Now when you stick the thermometer into meat, they advise that you stick it in horizontally, not vertically. You don't want to do it vertically. You want to get it in there horizontal for proper reading. So I'll just act like I've got a cook. I'm going to start with the temperature probe in there. Now I'm going to slide it on back to the pressure cook. So let's say I was doing a pressure cook with the temperature probe in there. Over here you've got a preset and manual. If you click on preset, you can do various presets for foods, like, well actually you got to press over here, you can do like your beef, your chicken, your pork and such. And you can also do a level of doneness. So if you look at this, the very top bar there, you can see it's like well or shred for chicken. Well done for chicken is like, you know, cooking it well done. Shred is like when you make a chicken that is falling apart when you pull it out of the pressure cooker. So you can do like well done or shred. You can go over to like your steam and crisp and you can hit preset. And here you can do like your beef with your different levels. You got rare, medium, well done, no, medium well, and then well done are your options there. You can also, for either one, well, for any of these that you can use the probe in, you can click on manual, and then you can set a manual target temperature for cooking your meat too. Now I will mention that the well done setting that it gives, where it'll tell you that things are finished for beef, fish, and pork, it actually is lower than the temperature you would expect for that level for cooking meat by about 10 to 15 degrees, because it's going to expect that you have some carryover. You cannot use the thermometer for dehydrate, sous vide, proof, steam, slow cook, yogurt, reheat, steam bake, and steam bread functions. Now I was surprised that you can't use the thermometer for slow cook and reheat. I mean, sometimes when you're doing a slow cook or a reheat, you might want to, you know, just kind of keep an eye on the temperature just, you know, in case, or you might want to get it up to like 195 or something, you know. And the manual does mention no matter the method, whether you're using preset or manual, and no matter what meat you're using, all the same, the unit may stop early for carryover. And so you can leave the food in for an extra 5 minutes if you want to make sure that the carryover gets your food fully cooked. And there is a way to manually check your meat temperature when your meat's cooked. You can manually check it by holding the manual button, press and hold it, and see now it's showing the temperature of the probe that it's reading, and you basically would have that in your meat. And that's a way to, you know, just on the fly open up and check meat temperature with that probe if you want to do it that way. Now I'm going to do a water test with the automatic quick release, and we'll see how that works. But I'm putting in 3 cups of water. That's the first 2. And there's our 3rd cup of water there. So with that, I'm going to close up, switch things over to the pressure setting, and going to set the release to a, let's see, I turn the dial? Yeah, there we go. Quick release. Turn the dial to quick release. And I'm going to put the pressure up to high. I'm going to set the time down to 2 minutes. So we've got 2 minutes high pressure, quick release, and hit start with that. Alright, it's getting ready quick release. Or does it want me to do it? There it is. It did it on its own. Alright, so it did the pressure release on its own, and then it tells me to open the lid, or that I can open the lid. So that's pretty cool that, this, is like a first of its kind. It is a first of its kind. It's not like, it is a first of its kind. You can set it to pressure release when you want it to pressure release. It can release on its own. And that's just amazing. So we could just switch to, another setting and open up, and the water is hot and boiling in there. So that turned out pretty good. Now I'm going to steam and crisp a whole chicken using the temperature probe, and we'll see how that goes. And the ingredients I'm going to use, I've got a half cup of water, and this is from, most of this is from the herb roasted chicken recipe that they have in the inspiration guide. For this particular cooker, it's on page 22, I believe. And got a tablespoon of black peppercorns I'm pouring in there. You're also supposed to use the juice of 2 lemons, so I've got like 6 tablespoons of some bottled lemon juice because I didn't have any fresh lemons on hand. And you're supposed to use 5 crushed garlic cloves. I've got 6 crushed garlic cloves I'm throwing in there. So there we go. So here's my chicken in the crisper basket. That's a 5-pound chicken, by the way. So got it on in there, and sticking the meat probe down into the breast of the meat, trying to get it horizontally. Alright, so I've got it in there good. I'm going to close up. Keep things on that steam and crisp setting. Turn the cooker on. And now that we're on steam and crisp, I'm going to do a preset. And I'm going to select chicken once I get chicken. So there we have chicken. We've got well done, steam and crisp. That's all we want. And so we're going to hit start. And we're just going to let it do its thing. And I'll bring you on back later. And while the cook's starting up, I forgot to mention I seasoned that chicken up with some black peppercorn, well, freshly cracked black pepper, and some Old Bay, some lemon and herb Old Bay, and I also put some extra light olive oil on the exterior of the chicken before I put those spices on it. So I'll bring you on back whenever, Lord wills, this cook is finished. Alright, so 56 minutes from hitting start and things finish. So I'm going to get in there with my thermometer just to double check the meat temperature in there, but it was targeting 170 and I'm getting 178, 179 with yeah, and then I check on the other side, on the side of the breast where the meat probe was, and that side is reading about 165. So it reached temp, and I guess different parts are reading kind of differently. But let's see if I can get the meat probe out of there. Alright. Now I'm going to see if I can get the chicken out, but it has reached temp. Alright. Let me show you the completed chicken here. That's our completed 5-pound chicken in just under an hour. And this thing is still kind of hot. These little pot holders don't keep your hands cool for too long. But it's all done. I'm just going to give it, maybe like 5 minutes or so to reabsorb some juices and rest. And then we'll go ahead and get to cutting into it. So now I'm going to try and get the chicken out of the crisper basket that it cooks in. Alright, set it over here on our cutting board. It looks like a pretty nicely done chicken for sure. So now I'm going to go ahead and try and cut this bird up a little bit. We'll just cut some meat off the breast for some taste testing here. Let's see. Cut down in there. That's good. That looks good. Looks good. Looks moist. Looks fully done. It looks pretty good. So just gonna put it over here on my plate and just kind of cut some off there. So we'll do a quick taste test. Alright, so thank God for some piping hot chicken, and praying I don't burn my mouth in the process of taste testing. It's perfect. Tasty, moist, crisp outside, moist inside. Did a great job. Meat probe worked great. It can auto pressure release. I mean, this pressure cooker has basically everything we who use pressure cookers ever wanted in a pressure cooker. So it's pretty awesome. And so in the video description, there are ways to help the channel. There'll be a referral link if there's a referral link for this cooker, and also you can find things like my cookbook in the video description as well. And if you did like this video, also my blog, superwaveovenrecipes.com, forgot to mention that. You can always check that out. But if you did like this video, please give it a thumbs up, share the video with a friend, leave your comments, subscribe, hit that notification icon, and good eating.